What's good, boy? It's Boyded Reviews, and today we're going to be reviewing The Sword in the Stone, a 1963 American animated musical fantasy comedy film produced by Walt Disney and released by Buona Vista Distribution. It is the 18th Disney animated feature film in the Disney canon, and it was the final Disney animated film to be released before Walt Disney's death. And the songs in the film were written and composed by the Sherman Brothers, who later wrote music for other Disney films like Mary Poppins and The Jungle Book, The Aristocrats, Bedknock and Broomsticks, and The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. The film is based on the novel of the same name, which was first published in 1938 as a single novel. It was later republished in 1958 as the first book of T.H. White's Terraphilosophy, The Once and the Future King. The Sword in the Stone was released to theaters on December 25th, 1963, on Christmas Day, to mixed reviews, though it was a box office success. And a live action film is in the works. And what is the film about? Well, the King of England, Ifrith Pendragon, dies and no heir to the throne is named, leaving England threatened to be torn apart by war. Miraculously, the Sword in the Stone appears inside as an Avril in London with an inscription proclaiming that whoever pulls it out is the rightful true King of England. Many try to remove the sword but no succeed, and the sword is eventually forgotten, leaving England in the Dark Ages. Years later, a 12-year-old orphan named Arthur, commonly called Wart, meets Merlin the wizard and his talking pet owl, Amicides. Merlin declares himself Arthur's tutor, and together the two of them go through a series of adventures that eventually leads him to the Sword in the Stone. Now, in terms of the production side of the things, Walt Disney first obtained the film rights to T.H. White's Sword in the Stone, and the initial storyboards were produced in 1949. When 101 Dalmatians was completed, two projects were in development, which were Chanticleer and Sword in the Stone. And I don't know what this film was, Chanticleer. I don't know if they actually ended up making it, but yeah. After Disney had seen the 960 Broadway production of Camelot, he approved the project to enter production. Ollie Johnson, one of the Nine Old Men, stated, Mitt Kaut, one of the Nine Old Men and directors, got furious with Bill Pett, a veteran storyboard artist, and for not pushing the Cantacelia project after all the work he had put in on it. And he said that he could draw a damn fine rooster, Bill said, so I can. That's what it was quoted. And I'm trying to remember. Bill Pett recalled how humiliated they were to accept defeat and give in to Sword in the Stone, and he allowed to have their own way, and they let him down, and he never understood that it wasn't trying to compete with him, just trying to do what they wanted to work on, and they were in the midst of all this completion and with what to please to as well. So yeah. I'm guessing they wanted to create another film, but instead they had to do Sword in the Stone. You can read more about that, but that's my little take on it. And let's talk about this film. Well, yeah, it's not that great. It's not that great at all. But let's talk about the pros of this film. And I have to admit, I do like everything with Merlin. Merlin is like Willy Wonka mixed in with Mr. Mongolian's Wonderful Emporium, all in one. He is this really crazy, weird wizard dude. He's voiced by Carl Sweeson. He's eccentric. He aids art and educates him, and he's just so weird and strange and this buffoon. And I just like his character animation in particular. I can see this dude just, like, the way he moves is all so fascinating. Like, the animators were at their peak at this time. And that's it. I am not a fan of Arthur. I think Arthur is just boring. His design is boring. Everything about him is boring. And the big issue big issue about this film is that uh, the actor Arthur was voiced by 3 different actors, leading to noticeable changes in voices between the scenes, and sometimes with the same scene. The 3 voices have American accents, sharply contrasting with the English setting and the accents spoken by most of the other characters. And Mark Marinesi of the online magazine Tour.com suggests that given that the film is about growing up, the problems might have been overcome, with the 3 voices being interpreted as Arthur's character development, both mentally and physically. However, she notes that the director chose to leave all 3 voices in for some scenes, drawing attention to the problems that were not the same actor. And she said 2 of the voice actors were brothers and sounded somewhat similar, the third was not and was considerably different. And the issues of American accents of the voices contrasted with English settings and the accents spoken by most of the other characters in the film, noting that the only positive vocal issue with Wart do help distract attention from the fact that the Brits aren't particularly good here either. And yet the voice actors aren't really that great either. I mean, apart from Merlin, everyone else is so bland and forgettable with really bad acting. I couldn't stand Arthur's voice and his character. His voice was always like going from this to this to this to this to this to this. It was like, my gosh, it was so weird hearing his voice. And yeah, even the visual design is, I mean, it is in slap bang during the Xerox era, you know. Remember the Xerox era, guys? When they had that start. Yeah, it is during that era. And I mean, I don't really mind it because, yeah, it's the Xerox era. It does have that Beauty and the, not Beauty and the Beast, the 101 Dalmatians look to it. But they still managed to have some interesting shots. Like there are some scenes, like with Arthur being transformed into creatures, that we do see some. It is set in like the woods, and it does look quite creepy. It looks really creepy at times, you know. But honestly, this film is a little meh. It is a bit bland, you know. Like maybe it works for the creepy scenes, like him being in the forest and him being scared at times. But I have to also admit that the visual look of this film, it looks kind of bland, you know. I'm sorry, but it's really boring to look at. And then whenever I watch this film, I always feel sleepy and want to go to bed. And that's how I feel with this film. I always feel sleepy and want to go to bed. There's another character who appears in the film later on, and she is kind of Merlin's rival in a way. She's this witch woman. I don't know, Madam Mim. She's voiced by Marith Wentworth, and I'm not a fan of her. She's a bit weird. But apart from that, Sword and Stone is a forgettable, bland Disney film. It does have some nice moments, but apart from that, it's a whole lot of nothing. And I'm going to give this film a 4 out of 10, and I'm going to definitely give it a D. Lord, that came out wrong. It's not a film to rewatch again. It's kind of boring, to be honest with you. Maybe 4 out of 10 is a bit too low. Give it a 5 out of 10, just because the character animation is really nice. But thanks for watching the review. Please like, share this video, and comment down below and tell me what's your favourite Disney film. With that said, thanks for watching as always. Body Reviews signing out.